What is up, podheads? We are back with a little bonus episode. I'm here with Nate. Nate, how you doing?
Good, yeah. I mean, everyone likes a bonus.
Right? Yeah. So we had some stuff over the last few weeks in our conversations with people for Tattoo the Earth that didn't quite fit the Tattoo the Earth interview. So we saved that stuff, and here it is. We're going to put it out for you right now. We got a couple cool stories from a few of the different guests: Derrick Green, Brian Fair, Shannon Larkin, Fran Strine, and then a bonus one at the end that you'll get here shortly. But yeah, we're going to lead it off right now with Derrick Green talking a little bit about podcasts and what he used to do for work.
You know, it's something that I never thought about so much. I mean, I guess during the pandemic, it just really popped off in so many different ways. And I started hanging around my friend's podcast, who lives very close. Yeah, Toby.
Yeah.
On One Life, One Chance. And I really loved what he was doing. You know, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I've known him for so many years, like over 20 years. And we used to, before I was in Sepultura, I worked across the street from Toby, and he was starting H2O, like coming up with the logo. Like he's like, check this out, I got this idea. And I was working at Fat Farm, Russell Simmons clothing shop. And so that was insane time, you know, especially for like hip hop in New York, and you know, Biggie Smalls coming out, and then Wu-Tang, and like the best of the best. And I was like, oh, I'm working at, you know, this shop, and they'd have these parties and all those people would be there. And it was incredible, you know, like actually working for Russell. I never worked in the clothing store my entire life, but it's such a small world. Like the person who introduced me to the job, he was a photographer, and he was really into hardcore and metal and the skateboarding world. And he was like, you can easily do this job. It's assistant manager position, salary, health benefits. I was like, for a clothing store job? And
no shit,
it was just insane, you know. He's like, yeah, but this is Russell Simmons' clothing store, so it's his new thing. And so there would be all sorts of crazy people coming in from, I mean, a crazy diversity of people, from the supermodels, like the original supermodels. So it was like Naomi Campbell, Chrissy Turlington, you know, all these like the ones. Seal, Heidi Klum, Joe Montana, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mariah Carey, Biggie, Redman, LL.
We got to save some of these stories.
Yeah, we will ask you about all this.
Yeah.
Crazy time. But anyway, that's how I met Toby. And then we had a lot to talk about. And a lot of people we had on the podcast, so I was like, oh, wow, that person seems interesting. I want to know about them. Like, you know, especially people I had no idea about their background or where they came from. Like will.i.am, he had on. I was like, what? Black
That's
Eyed
right,
Peas?
he did. That was a big guest.
Yes, and he was on the Warped Tour, which I didn't know Black Eyed Peas were. And that's how Toby
that must
met
have been pre-Fergie too, right?
I think so.
Because they I think because they had a run there without her before she joined, right?
Right. I think it was at the tipping point of right when they were getting big, but people weren't feeling that Warped Tour, of course. But it was great hearing him talk about Warped Tour, just like, hey, I learned so much from it, you know, about watching those heavy bands play in front of the crowd and win the crowd and be able to move the crowd. And he's like, and that's what he's like, I learned so much from seeing that and watching them. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. You know, he's a really smart guy too. So, podcast, awesome. You know, I love
it. We will ask you back for this. We won't do it, you know, right this second, but it will. You'll give me someday. You're gonna open your email. And you're gonna be like, those guys again. All right, hopefully, let's do
it. You're kidding me.
All right, next up we have the one and only Brian Fair. He is no stranger to the podcast from Overcast and Shadows Fall. We get into some fun conversation about Fish, who we've never talked about in the podcast, and also wearing an Integrity hoodie, tie-dye, and getting recognized at metal shows. This is awesome. Here it is.
Well, it's funny because like I like on Twitter, I go back and forth where like if I'm on Fish tour or hitting a bunch of Fish shows, all my metalheads are just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, like, sorry, man, no, that's what you got to deal with a bunch of Fish content and just eat it.
Well, you were in New York, right? Because you went to the MSG shows.
Yeah, I went to the MSG shows and I just hit Deer Creek in Indiana a minute ago. Like,
Nice.
But that's it for the year. I'm fished out for a minute. My brain can only take so much.
One of my buddies, our buddies that lives in Florida, was at the MSG shows too, and I was like, "Hey, if you see Brian Fair, he's there," because I saw him on Twitter.
It's hilarious, man. I was wearing a tie-dyed Integrity shirt.
No, that exists.
Sweatshirt. So yeah, dude, and it's the Humanity is the Devil one too. So it's literally this super pretty blue tie dye with just the Humanity is the Devil on the back, and this one dude walks by and he's like, "Nice Integrity hoodie," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then I see him do the stop, and I look, and he's got a like. Full of hell shirt on, so I'm just like waiting for it to click, and then he's like, wait a minute, Brian,
I know you.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, thank God there's another metal dude here. He's like, but guys in my band just don't understand why I come to these shows and blah blah blah, because he was in some like progressive like death metal band, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, man, they'll figure it out one day. But so there's always a few there's always a few I always get a few horns walking by. There's a couple you get recognized at the Fish show, and I prefer because if that happens at the Slayer show, I'm not surprised. Right, but when it happens at the Fish show, I'm like stoked.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, you're probably trying to hide at the metal show. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and what's funny is I'm definitely the one moshing at the Fish show too, like because they got some riffs that get pretty heavy, and I have to remember I'm like doing this like Rasta stomp, and I'm like, wait a minute, okay, I'm gonna knock over some like hippie kid and get in trouble here. So I gotta reel it in. Reel it in.
Pull it back just a little. Just a little.
All right, I gotta put you on the spot. I don't think I've ever listened to a Fish song front to back. What's the heaviest riff?
Heaviest riff would either be Sloth or Horn. Horn is very Zeppelin-y heavy. Horn's like it's a sick riff, but it's very Zeppelin-y. Sloth has a straight mosh part, like straight.
Really?
No way.
There you go.
In the early '90s, when they were more shredding and going super fast, they had a lot of like '90s hardcore riffs peppered in their jams, though, not necessarily their songs. Like Trey would just stumble across them in jams, and man, it was very Iceburn-ish, very like Into Another vibes on some of that stuff. So it's in there. The guitar tone, it's not like he was playing through a dual rectifier or anything, but he could bring it heavy. These days, a little more dad rock, not gonna lie, but but the jams still get evil, man. There was a time in the '90s where they were just like, if you're on acid, we're gonna make your head explode, and they weren't nice about it. They like people think they were a hippie band. I'm like, they're not a hippie band, man. They were mean back in the day. Like literally playing Mach 10, saying you're never gonna get this maze in a tripped out surround sound stuff going everywhere with a bunch of people on super powerful hallucinogenics. Like that's just evil. Yeah, that's just straight evil, man.
That's mean. Yeah.
So
I got to get in the right headspace. I'll clear out my basement so I can mosh to Sloth.
There you go. Yeah, Sloth is the one, man. That's the one. So I'll find. I'll find a good one and email a link to you. I'll find a good heavy Sloth and send it to the email. So
oh hell yeah, dude, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. See, I'm infecting you with Fish. I love it.
All right, next we're going to get into with Shannon. He was gracious with his time and kind of did a little sidebar conversations, one of which was bantering about our hometown, which is Portland, Maine, and the scene there, kind of a local bar scene there, kind of notorious, most bars per capita, I think, for a while. It was the tagline. And also a little feud with some Mushroomhead fans, which is kind of funny. So check this out.
Nice. One time I was in Maine. I was in this band in the '80s called Wrathchild America later, and we played this place called the Free Street Pub.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
That place, I don't know if it's still there, but it was around for a long, long time, and they let their bands. Back in the day, we do like 4 sets. Playing cover songs, playing all these cover song shit. But one time we were up there in the summer. And we would stay for 4 days and play 4 nights at this gig. And they had a band house. The Free Street Pub had a band house that let all the bands stay in it, Oh,
wow.
I caught crabs there one time. Thank you. And so we would go down to the pier, man, right there on the water. And I swear to y'all, it was 100 degrees out, hot as shit. And I said, I'm jumping in that water. I jumped in the water. I almost had a heart attack, man. It must have
So
been
cold.
60 degrees, that water.
It's insanely cold.
It's cold. 60 degrees in water is cold, man.
Yep.
And I thought I was going to die. But anyway, so hello, Maine. I love Maine.
Another one.
But, one time we were in Cleveland and we were playing with Slipknot, and we climbed this bleacher from behind to attack these dudes that were throwing. They had sharpened like triangle pieces of metal, and they were whipping them at Slipknot on the stage. And these motherfuckers were whizzing. So, someone had told us about it, and they were dumbass because they were holding up this big sign that said, "Fuck Slipknot, Mushroom Head rules," or whatever. And there was back in the day, there was, Mushroom Head was all, we did it first. We wore masks first.
Yeah, for sure.
Slipknots, no, we never heard of you all. Fuck off. And then, so next thing you know, their fans, I guess, in they're from Cleveland, start throwing these, like I said, sharpened, they could have, hurt somebody. And so Casey Chaos for Big Man said, "Come on, guys." And us, we were so, okay, I'm no fighter, but I was like, okay, I'm coming. I'm going to punch somebody. And we climbed up this fucking thing, and Sonny Mayo cocked somebody in the mouth, and Paul Fig. And next thing you know, I'm in the middle of this action, man. It was rad. I didn't even get hit. I was just throwing punches at people I didn't even know. It was awesome. But that's how Tattoo the Earth was, too. That's how Amen was. Amen, we should have been the poster children of Tattoo the Earth, man.
I mean, that's what Fran told us, too, on episode 1. He said you guys were, wild, and like, in a good way. Like, it was always a party.
Yeah, we were all nice guys, and we all loved at the time, to drink and do drugs, and we were young.
All right, next up, we have Fran Strine. We had Fran back on episode 1 of Podioslave Tattoos the Earth. We talked to him for 30 minutes or so. We end up cutting about 8 minutes of it, but we have a couple cool stories from that right now. One about going to an NFL game with Mick Thompson, and then another about a Red Sox game. So a little bit of sports nerdery mixed in with your Tattoo the Earth stuff right now with Fran Strine.
One of my favorite memories with Mick is where we both love football. And I met a guy who played with the Cleveland Browns. He was an offensive lineman, Ryan Tucker. And this was when I was working with Disturbed. They came to one of the shows, a bunch of the guys. And I saw the guy had a Super Bowl ring on. When he played with the Rams, he was Kurt Warner's blindside offensive tackle or whatnot. And we started talking. He goes, "Oh, man, anytime you want to come to the game, just let me know." I'm like, I'll take you up on that. So we exchanged phone numbers. And football season was starting. So I'm like, "Hey, man, let me know if we can take up an offer on that." My friend Mick from Slipknot is a huge fan of the NFL too. He'd like to join me. He's like, "Well, hey, man, we're playing the Chicago Bears next week. You want to come up? I'll treat you guys. You'll be on the field for the whole show, for the whole game."
Damn.
So I called up Mick. I'm like, "You want to do a road trip?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." So we go. And then the equipment manager sees us, and says, "Hey, man, nice to meet you guys. You guys want to work?" I'm like, "Sure, man. What do you got?" He's like, "You guys want to be the cable dude for the coach?" Just kind of curious. I was like, "Yeah, man, that sounds like fun, man. Who gets to do that?" So he had Mick and I doing that. But what he didn't tell us is we had to wear NFL code clothes. And Mick, if you ever see him, he's always wearing a Raiders hat, his sunglasses, black, long sleeve, everything, combat boots, black, everything's black and evil. We had to wear khaki shorts, white ankle socks with gray Reebok sneakers, and a gray Cleveland Brown shirt. Right. And there are photos of this. So I've got them somewhere, but he's like, "You ever show anybody this shit, I'll kill you."
So he looked like a scout. He looked like an NFL scout.
Oh, totally, man. We're there the whole, and when you see these giant dudes just like crush, it was the best time, man. And Mick and him got kicked out of a club in Cleveland called the Exit or something like that. But they were on the bar doing air guitar to Judas Priest, hammered out of their minds. And got thrown out, and I'm like, "This is my cue to go back to the hotel." So I left I was like, "Here's money for a cab. I'm headed out of here."
Another one.
Who's a big Mike Mushak's the biggest Red Sox freak
Nice.
ever. I'll never forget. We were on tour and we were going through Tampa, and it was the Sox and Tampa and the American League series or whatnot. And my son lived in Tampa at the time. He was probably 11 or 12. So we swung by and picked him up in the tour bus. It was a total rock star moment for him.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome.
We go to the game, and Mike knows a lot of the players. And we get on the field, and the first person to run over and give a bear hug is Big Poppy, man.
Oh yeah, that's
Wow.
awesome. That's
Fuck,
dope.
crazy. Man.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'm 38 and I take a fucking bear hug from Big Poppy right now.
Yeah.
You take two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so now we're talking to an OG, a 90s OG, Chad Benekos of Head PE. He jumped on with us for a future episode, but we did get him to talk about a little bit of Tattoo the Earth stuff as well, and jumping off tour to record the Bartender video, which is a pretty crazy video. If you haven't seen it, check that out on YouTube, but a little backstory there too, which was recorded during Tattoo the Earth, which I didn't know. We didn't know that beforehand, so always cool to get those stories, so check this out. All right, Chad, we've had so many guests to kind of recollect Tattoo the Earth, both the reincarnation of the festival, but also the 2000 era, which you guys were part of, the Traveling Chaos, the Caravan of Pain, as it's told. We're curious, though, like, how did you guys find out about Tattoo the Earth? Like, when did you get the call? Where were you? Do you remember any of that?
No, I don't. I remember we were just wrapping up the Broke record, and we hadn't really toured it yet. A little bit. I hadn't even gotten like all my new cabinets I was going to use when the tour came together and they asked us to do it. I think it was like a no-brainer once we knew, like, we had the same manager as Slayer. That's what it was. Nice. So we played with Slayer a shit ton, even though that was a weird lineup. So when it was like, oh, Slipknot's playing, Slayer's playing, you guys want to do it? And we're like, fucking, of course. Like, who's going to say no, to that? But yeah.
So yeah, it just wrapped up Broke. That, what was it? The record dropped August 22nd, 2000.
Yeah.
9 days after Tattoo the Earth ended. So you must have been playing songs from Broke on that tour, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We were just warming up. We were going through a little bit of a phase there where it was like, if you saw us on Ozfest or any of that shit from the debut record, you could see how we were. Like, we were so done. We just wore our fucking street clothes. And we had bags of laundry all sweaty and shit. And for the Broke tour, we had decided, like, maybe we should actually have some stage clothes, and have a little bit more of a stage show, and do some things the right way. And so we were just transitioning into that when Tattoo came. So we were like a hybrid of like our old self and what Broke was when you see, that spectacle of a show. We were right in the middle of doing that, So it's kind of a special moment for us. We hadn't really evolved into what we were going to become. Yeah. Trippy.
How was the songs off Broke received live? Because most people wouldn't have heard the recorded version of those.
Right. I don't remember, dude. I know that I don't, and I have a lot of footage. I don't know if you guys saw, I put that movie at that documentary based on all my home footage. So I have a ton of Tattoo the Earth footage. So I know when we're playing like Waiting to Die, some of the punk songs, the pit's just going for it. But some of the new songs just seem like people didn't know it. They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
I don't think we played a lot. I think we played like Killing Time, and maybe we played Bartender, or something like that. We didn't play a whole lot of the new stuff. We relied on like the heavier punk stuff, I think.
It's kind of crazy to think that people got to see those songs live before they ended up being massive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've all done that. We've all been to a concert. We've seen a band play. They're playing something that, they're playing new songs. We're like, all right, cool. Should I go take a piss? Like, I don't even know. But then you come to find out, you're like, man, I should have stuck around. That song ends up being one of my favorite songs by that band. So it's crazy.
Yeah. I wish I was at shows like that. We're like, oh, they're playing something fucking new. Holy shit, that's cool.
Well, actually, we tried to do the research. We couldn't find it anywhere. So, like, nowadays, it's different, right? With the internet and everything. Like, obviously, 2000, the internet was around, but it wasn't as, I don't know, accessible or controversial or whatever you want to call it. But now when bands go on tour and they're promoting a new record pre-album drop, like, they're actually told, don't play those songs so they'll get pirated, and actually people will find out before the record's out. So they actually a lot of the times they're being told not to play those songs until at least release day. So for you guys, like, we're wondering, Bartender as a single, were you guys playing that, A, and B, Was that on radio as promotional support as on top of that, or was that not even in radio?
Yeah, I think we had like maybe some little sampler CDs that we'd pass out. We went and filmed the bartender video in Mexico on a day off from Tattoo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we flew out. We did this whole thing for a couple of days, and then we joined back up on the tour. So, you know, the record was just still coming together. You know, we didn't have the video and the single one, all that shit yet.
That video is fucking crazy, by the way.
That video, dude. Yeah, that video. That was a whole other story, dude.
Tijuana, right? I think,
no,
right?
it was in some other town, border town in Texas, and dude, it was wild. The police had to come out. All that stuff you see in the video, the police and shit, they were there to like protect us, dude. Because
wow,
we took over these bars and we were in the streets, and there was like, you know, just fucking. There's alleys of heroin addicts, and we're who we are. We're all getting drunk, and we got all our girlfriends there and shit. So it's like, let's film the cops. Fuck it.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of coordination on an off date to pop down to Mexico.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and then you're back on, you know, you're flying back to this, as we said, caravan of pain, where people are getting tattoos in fields, and it's dirty and dusty, and there's dust storms, and there's, you know, flash floods, and that must have been fucking wild.
It was wild, dude. Yeah, I remember seeing, like, the bass player's name from Mudvayne. He was like, I'm going to get tattooed right now. I'm like, right now? Like, where? He's like, right here. He sat down, and two guys were just tattooing his chest, you know, before he went and played. And we played in a rainstorm once. So we got to play that Metallica gig. I think Tattoo like butted up on a couple cool things here and there. That was fucking rad. Giant stadium, right?
Yeah.
Playing with your idols, Metallica, but also the new fucking festival in August that we'll be at. Another influence of yours, Anthrax, is playing, which we're stoked on.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anthrax was huge influence on me, dude. My first band, remember, if you guys are Anthrax fans, you know they had those mosh parts.
Yep.
Right? They were like the heaviest part of the song. I was obsessed with that. And my first band, one of my first thrash bands, was like all my own mosh parts. That's all it was. The whole band was like mosh parts, dude.
Yeah, we had Scotty and Frank Bello on the podcast. So, dude, tribute to those guys. Hell yeah.
They're awesome, dude. Scott's the man.
And I mean, to give us, you know, a half an hour to nerd out about them bringing Tattoo the Earth back. And then obviously some other cool shit in there too. So I don't know if this is happening when we drop this. I don't know if it's happening before or after that interview. But man, they are badass, and to be doing it for 41 years now is pretty wild too.
I know, dude.
Cool. So yeah, those were our extra conversations, extra little tidbits that we got of nerdery from all of the guests that we had over the course of the Tattoo the Earth series, and we thought we'd drop it right now and give you guys a little bonus episode, a little extra stuff, and hint at, obviously we have Chad Benekos coming up, and we talked, for about an hour with Chad about Hip PE self-titled. We just celebrated a 25th anniversary back in August, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, it's all encompassing. We're nerds, we're geeks. So putting out the extra content, we're not going to shelve it and it's not going to get dusty. We want to put it out to the world for us or for anyone else that's interested. So that's why we put this together. But yeah, a lot of this happens quite often, actually. There's a lot of B-reel that, we save or we kind of geek out on. But this is proper for an extra, I don't know, almost like Fran Strine's Seasons DVD, right?
Right.
Extra content. No extra charge either, so.
Yeah, if you want to go and support us, it's the bottom of the episode. Go ahead and click on that. But yeah, definitely a fun time getting to know all of these folks surrounding the Tattoo the Earth piece, and then to get the extra stuff that we got too. And it needs to see the light of day, so here it is. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, look forward to Chad Benekos coming on. We'll probably drop that, couple of weeks from now, before September ends. You'll hear it. And that was a really fun conversation. Chad was awesome, and get a really good deep dive into the Head PE self-titled record, which again just turned 25 years old, which is wild. Yep,
a little cliffhanger for Head PE and a bunch of other stuff that's in the bank too. So we're not joking when we say we have things logged. We're working our asses off over here. So it's all in good faith, all in trust of the nerd. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Peace, podheads.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.